And hey everybody, welcome back to another blockchain.com news episode. It is November 2019. We've been going to these a little over a year now. I'm pretty proud of us. I'm here with Andrew as always. How you doing, Andrew?
Good. Hey guys.
Awesome. So as we always like to start out talking about our last meetup, we did a game Torian on the Zaya platform. It went pretty well. It was pretty cool mechanics.
Yeah, we demonstrated what the game looks like, and I talked about how it works under the hood in terms of the game channel and other scalability functions they've been working on. We also made a page, or Isaac made a page on our website showing it off. That looks really cool. So when you scroll down, information kind of comes together at you from the sides, and at the bottom there's convenient links
Oh yeah, it looks
for
really good.
downloading the game. Uh, my what I like most about this page was that it puts lore kind of more all in one place. I've seen some mention of the lore, like there's a video you can watch, which is on the gallery on our webpage. But beyond the video, there's not a lot of places where you can just read about the story if you're not familiar with it all. Um, So I think that's something we're going to want to cover when we start featuring games of different kinds. Because I actually am not one of those people who always presses skip in the
Oh,
storyline. You know what I mean?
usually
I
I
like
am.
to.
Usually I am,
Oh,
yeah.
you are.
Yeah, so it
Uh,
happens, man. I gotta get my mechanics on. And speaking of mechanics, this is actually one of the games, Torian, for people who don't know, that is a serverless game. So these guys are like pushing for the full decentralization dream and going for the full serverless game, where it's just the game is the blockchain, man. And we play it with each other.
yeah, that's right. And then we're gonna probably take a break from meetups for this month, and we're gonna work on one for December.
Yeah, we did over a year of live guests in Vancouver. So as far as like considering how niche our industry is, like our sub industry, like blockchain gaming specifically, considering how niche it is, a year of live guests is really good. So yeah, a little bit of a break, prep up for Christmas, and we will probably be doing one more this year, and then back into full swing for next year, getting ready for a conference again in April.
That's right. It should be exciting. Um, For news from our social media channels, like I say every time, if you post your projects or what you're doing to our Facebook group or Telegram or subreddit, we may talk about it and feature it. We saw a couple. One interesting one I saw was called cropBytes, another farming game on the blockchain kind of thing with economy built in. Uh, you can probably,
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know.
a few similar ones like this. This one seems to be built over the real world map in some ways. And there's various resources. It looks like it's built on Tron. I have
Uh,
yeah,
I've
honestly,
seen more games on Tron
I'm
lately.
there's yeah, there is more because ETH, for all, we love it sometimes. It literally is like they're moving to a new chain. Like the ETH chain, like people don't want to build on it because in most cases, like the game should just be built somewhere else. It really shouldn't be built on it because it has no staying power because the chain's going to die. But games that use like tokens and stuff for ownership, those will be pretty straightforward to transfer over to the ETH2 chain through the beacon chain. Yeah, it's a crazy process they have planned.
I just read in the FAQ. This one's not even on the Tron network yet. Actually,
Oh,
you're playing a browser game currently.
yeah, that
Draft is under development. It
yeah.
says.
So it's basically the back end linking of it part, right? Like making the same thing happen on both sides. So right now it's just a basic game, and
Yeah,
yeah, I mean the incentives for like Tron idle games are like a little different than an ETH idle game because ETH like costs a lot to use, but Tron's like pretty
mm,
passive. So there's like more you're able to do more like action oriented games like or just more actions. You still not a lot of actions like a couple. ETH is like you can do a few per hour on a main chain game, but like something like Tron you can do much more often because someone else
yeah.
eats the cost.
And then another game that seemed interesting was the BlockSheep, another
Yeah,
mass
you're saying it reminded you of
psychology
Team Just
set and
stuff.
win. In that it involves mass psychology, and you are betting and hopefully winning against the majority. Um, In this case, it's by trying to literally not be the majority by answering a question properly. And I just thought about this more. I didn't see any questions posted yet. Maybe I should try back later. But the question could be anything, couldn't it? Like, what I
Well,
mean is,
technically, yeah. It's, here they give will Trump be reelected as a example, so seems like they're going for real
so
world.
you don't, that you're not going to actually pick if you think he'll be reelected or not, right? You're going to pick what you think other people aren't going to pick. And
Oh, so it's not actually about the question being answered.
correct.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I don't get that, right? Because then the question, you may as well just say, pick a letter, A or B. And if 60% of people pick B and you pick A, you win.
Yeah,
How
but
it,
having a question changes that randomness where like everyone now, instead of just picking heads or tails, an arbitrary thing, they're picking some sort of question that has like that causes them to think. So it's like, people like the Trump question they give as an example, people would probably like say, okay, people are going to think about this emotionally. People love him or hate him, so maybe everyone's going to say no. So because, they hate him, so we'll say yes. And then,
huh,
if enough people think that, it doesn't matter if it happens or not.
it
I
just seems
guess
so
that
silly
that's
to
that's
me.
interesting. Yeah,
But you might be right.
because then it's
Um,
you're judging the people's
what would
opinion
you
of the
pick
question.
in this question?
In this question, I would pick no, or no, I would pick yes because I think more people would pick no. Like what the logic I just described would be my logic for answering this question. I think there's
But
enough Trump hate.
if everyone else is smart, and then they
They're not
also
though.
think everyone else will pick, okay, fine, they're not though.
Yeah. I'm also counting on that. They're not, but that basically says I'm the smart one. So usually when you say that, you're about to get wrecked. Like
Yeah.
anytime you're talking about how great you are, that's like you're in for it soon.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
We'll
cool
see
though.
how
And
it goes, I guess.
I guess yeah, it's an interesting setup. I think it's another one of those things that would need to be a little more at scale. Like the more people were using this, the more effective it would be, and like the more accurate. Maybe not accurate is the right word, but the more the gameplay would be pure. I guess if there was more people doing it. Whereas if it was just like a couple people, it would really be like more a game of chance. I feel like the chance kind of starts to go away, and the higher the player count.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, the psychology at play here. It's because it makes you think a little bit of the ETH games that have the goal of predicting future events. But that's slightly different in that the question is related to real world happenings.
Yeah,
You're trying to pick not necessarily what you think everyone else will or won't pick, but you're trying to pick what you think is correct
yeah. You're trying
in
to
a
pick
game
the
like that.
actual result versus this. You're trying to pick the one that the least people pick.
Now, flip this. How differently would the dynamic
In
be
one of them, you
used?
need oracles to feed the data.
What
So
if
for
we said instead of trying to be the minority, your goal is to be the majority? How would that change this game?
ooh, that's a good one. I think it would. I think it would probably subtly change it in some ways, and I think a different group of people would end up being better at it.
Like,
My theory on that, but I can't back it up, is that if the game was based around being the majority or the minority of the people that were good at the game, some would be good at both versions, but I bet there'd be a subset of people on both sides that were only good at one version.
which one are you?
Ooh, ooh. Probably on the no side. I'd probably
Huh.
be better at picking the no than the yes.
Interesting, interesting.
Every time there's a Twitter poll, I literally just try and pick the lowest answer. I try and give points to, unless it's really bad, like is Craig Satoshi or
But
something.
wait, isn't it the same basic question? I mean, if you think the answer's no, I mean,
It is the same
you know,
basic question, but people's thought process would be applied differently because they're trying to achieve a different result.
hmm,
Oh,
I
boom! I
see.
did manage to explain it. There you
You
go.
did.
That,
You
that's
did.
yeah.
Good
That's
job.
yeah. People's thought process would be different, trying to be in the majority or minority. They're going for a victory or a loss, and that changes their whole thought process to get there. So the same question,
Interesting.
different people would answer differently based on whether the goal of the game was heads or tails, kind of thing. Yeah, it's fun stuff. All right, let's move on. But that is a cool game, and I'm gonna come back to that and actually check it out a little more detail.
And then we saw some news shared around from e-gamers about Chain Guardians.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw this actually news a couple somewhere else too. I think this came by me on Twitter. So they've
oh,
joined
Twitter.
the Silica Nexus ecosystem, and basically Chain Guardians is just like it says it here. It's it's an anime-styled turn-based real-time strategy, right?
That
So
sounds fun.
yeah, turn-based real-time strategy is good. So you're what the game you love, you always play Civilization, like turn-based real-time strategy. So it's like somewhat, it's real time, but it's also like you're taking turns. So that's like an interesting games that do that right are usually done really well. And these guys, of course, there's a picture of a pyramid somewhere on their website. I want to be at the top.
Oh, great.
Yeah, any it's not to do with economics. It looks like it's to do with like using one account across multiple devices, but it's still a pyramid, so it's you gotta say something. Yeah, but these guys apparently the Silica Nexus ecosystem or whatever they're doing. I think it's its own blockchain. It looks like because there's a few other games that it says they picked up. I saw earlier games like Mytherium, which was one of the first Ethereum card games. Yeah, TCG's Mytherium, Ether Legends, and a couple other ones. Oh, the Crypto Oink, Japanese pig racing game. I've actually played that. I played Crypto Oink.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. I played it because it was getting popular at one point, and it came across, and I had to do it. But yeah, so these guys seem like they're picking up more games, which is nice because it's funny. Like I think you pointed it out earlier, we're seeing a lot of like not just the game wars, it's like the console wars, but like the platform wars, where it's like what
yeah.
platform is going to scoop up the most games and what platform is going to catch on first. Because the reality is, it just takes one game to get really popular that just happens to be built on a specific blockchain platform. One game goes viral properly, then that platform is going to be really hard to take down.
Yeah. But it appears as though this platform is not necessarily a competitor to all other platforms. For example, it looks like it
Oh, are
can
they a
work in
game studio
conjunction. Well, it says Silicon Nexus can
ecosystem?
work with games that run on Engine Coin.
Oh, interesting. Their site's kind of slow.
And it can work on, yeah, if it can work on games that run on Engine Coin,
Oh, they're doing an
maybe I'm
IEO.
reading this wrong.
Oh, these guys are
Uh,
about to do a token sale. They're doing a token sale on what exchange? LA token. Ooh,
hmm,
that's a real shitcoin paradise.
yeah, I've heard from them before.
Not
Gonna
to
get
rag on
licked.
littler exchanges because it's just how it is, but just like the littler ones, it's like it's funny they're all getting into IEOs now, and LA token is just super random exchange,
Hmm.
but they're building a comprehensive cross-reality virtual universe. Boom. XRVU.
Oh,
I don't mean to mock them. That actually sounds like I would play it a
you know
lot.
what? This is kind of interesting, actually. I'm reading more about what exactly they're doing with Silicon Nexus. Nexus? I always pronounce that wrong. Anyway, player acquisition as a service allows one to monetize tickets from arcades. Like, when you win tickets that you could exchange for prizes like candy or
Yeah,
a
yeah, of
model
course.
plane,
I take my kids to the arcade, man. They still got that.
you can get NFTs instead.
Oh, I think like only we would go there. We'd be like, I want my NFTs, man. They'd be like,
Yeah,
just take the eraser.
but that would require what I would think that would require partnership with these arcade
Yeah, and there would have to be
companies.
like bigger chains of arcades. So like, I don't think there's many of those left in our part of the world. The more densely populated Asian countries probably still rock the arcades, or at least the yeah,
Hmm,
there'd be more likely to be chains of them over there. But yeah, that's
interesting.
pretty cool though. This seems like it's definitely one to watch.
Hmm. In other news, we had our first guest blog contribution. Super good times,
Oh
like
yeah,
we've
yeah,
been saying.
pixEOS, right? Yeah, yeah, that's cool stuff. It's one of
Yeah,
the
like
EOS
we've been
games that I was.
saying, anyone can contribute their own guest article. If they want to contribute an article to our blog, we'll publish them alongside mine and others. And yeah, this guy did one about pixEOS. It's kind of artistic. Like it seems like it's very artistic, in fact. Like borderline, is it more art or more game? But it's an interesting interview, and uh, we also put it to our Medium publications. So we want to keep encouraging people to participate in our channels like this one. Good way to spread the word about your project.
Yeah, these guys apparently they have 7 multiplayer blockchain games now on EOS on their little mini closed economy of 7 games. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't. I did EOS Nights in the beginning, but it was really lame to be perfectly honest. And I haven't played any other EOS games since. Even Tron, I've only played a couple games. I bought some Tron and it's sitting in a wallet, like waiting for the new Team Just game. But it just really hasn't. I really haven't veered too far away from ETH for the most part.
Yeah, me neither. I don't mess with random chains. You know what I mean? Or Tron or Neo anyway.
Yeah, so anyways,
Anyway,
if you're out there listening and you have a game to promote and you want to write a good blog about it, hit us up with the email and we can get you right up here along the other ones.
that's right. We may have some more soon. We're also working on a wiki. That should be fun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That's it's gonna be interesting to get going. I think there's a lot of blockchain game history that's happening right now, and if we don't record it while it happens, it's no one's gonna get it. So once that gets up, we're gonna try and or at least I'm gonna get a good head start on it, and then we'll try and promote like the greater public to do it because yeah, like I said, there's a lot of history. All you guys out there have screenshots of games that are no longer around. That's like those are going to dry up real fast. So we gotta get those in one place while we still can. So be on the watch out for the wiki at blockchaingaming.com.
and I think the biggest news right now, in my opinion, is the Gods Unchained release.
Yeah, literally, and their card sale sold out. They did an what was it called, IJO, initial JPEG offering, about a year and a half ago. They said it would last 3 months. A lot of us put in money early on. Then they said it would last 3 more months and 3 more months, and then they stopped giving us a date, and they just said when it's ready. And yeah, uh, and I didn't really lose faith in these guys, but I do always mention that like, I've had a mixed pass with them because I played their first game too, but every time they do any sort of mistake, they like always make it right in a really good way.
What was up with their first game? I don't know what
They
you're
were
talking about.
not experienced with blockchain stuff very well, so they didn't pay attention to like gas usage or like,
Oh,
yeah, the way the game worked was just unsustainable in the long term. It just ate gas to do pretty simple calculations and change tokens around too much per move. But like in this game, they really like they took that lesson like, and they went so far with making it better. So like when you bought your cards, they weren't even going to be tradable until you paid the extra gas to make them tradable. So creating the card was like only one step. And that way they could like you'd save the gas and you wouldn't have to make your card tradable if you didn't want it. But
yeah, I remember.
now what they ended up doing is they're just paying everyone's gas. So they're dropping like 100K worth of ether, like 100,000 bucks worth of ether
Jeez.
probably in this week, and they're slowly activating everyone's cards. So basically, then everything's going to become tradable. It says here there's 22% activated, and there was 18% earlier today. It's going to take a while. Uh, they gave us 24 to 72 hour time frame. That has passed around now, but that was a little bit unrealistic to get it done because they got to pay for the block space. But then everyone's card's going to be tradable. Every weekend they open up a ranked mode, so you basically have like I've been grinding hard. It's not free to play, or it's free to play, but it's not really pay to win. It's actually a little bit disappointing. Some of the newer cards that are like you just get from playing are like blatantly more powerful than the Genesis set, which is like the
Uh,
one that was on sale for a year and a half. And like a lot of the
Good for me.
yeah, good for everyone.
Well,
And that's the
I
thing.
just started playing and I didn't contribute.
Yeah,
So,
realistically, it's better for the game because the early players have already paid, and that's kind of the problem with just in general, like pre-selling items, is because then when the game starts, you're expecting new players to come in with their money, and you're going to give them less, and they're going to be weaker. And because these games actually do end up costing a lot, like I spent like probably 2 or 3 ether, 2.5 maybe on God's cards, and
hmm,
I have like barely any. Like I got a
do
few
you feel
legendaries.
dipped?
The which?
Do you feel cheated?
No, No. I probably should have just bought legendary packs instead of buying all like the regular ones and a few legendary packs. But I know people spent way more than me, like way more. Like people dropped, 20, 30 ether, like a lot of people did. Back when it was worth more too. I don't look at crypto as money. I just look at it as a plaything, like just in
Wow.
general. When once I have crypto, it never turns back into dollars. It's just
Well,
like,
so far I've only tried the AI. I haven't really played much, so I'm level 0, no EXP. But I kind of liked the gameplay.
yeah, it's
Um,
really smooth. And the queue times, the game seems to be popular enough right now that the queue times are just like instant. Like I've never waited more than a couple seconds.
mm,
For that, I've been playing like 3 days now.
well,
Yeah, and
it,
and you can earn the good cards just like every time you quote unquote level up, you get a pack. So it goes
uh,
pretty quick. Like I've already got two free of the new legendaries. So like it seems like it would go, decently for new players just getting in, and I think that's like the key to a successful game versus like, they wanna, they want to please the early players, but the reality is if there's no new players coming in, the early players will be just nothing. So I think they're making all the right moves, and every time they misstep, I think they always come through right away anyway. So it always works out. But
well,
yeah,
I
if you
need to
haven't tried
put
Gods
some more
Unchained
older
yet,
games
definitely
here.
do it. I don't even think you can buy cards right now. Like I don't think you can. It seems like you can only yeah, you can only just earn them because the Genesis set sold out and I don't think they're selling the next one.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's very Hearthstone like. So anyone who's played Hearthstone is just going to be right there. A couple of the abilities are different, but yeah, it's it's there. I'm up to level 28. That means I
If you
play.
think about it, that is kind of good for initial backers in a way, because if you wanted to buy a card now, you can't. You had to have purchased a card a while ago. They could buy it from you.
Yeah, I think just as
Uh,
my prediction, I'm going to say this on the cast, so it's there. There is going to be a very painful plummet in price in the Gods Unchained cards market as soon as it goes live. So many
what?
people bought cards over the last year.
Don't you have a bunch?
Yeah, yeah. I'll probably scoop up some legendaries I need. Like I'll wait for them to go sale. But what I think's gonna happen is I think a few select cards are gonna be worth way more, and most of them original ones are gonna be worth like objectively less than the pre-opened pack. You know,
Mm,
like I think a legendary was like point 0.1 ether. So for a legendary pack, a guaranteed legendary. So I think that or 0.12 maybe even. So I think that they won't mostly sell for that. Most of them will be like 0.03 and 0.02, and then like the epics or whatever, same thing. I think a couple epics will be worth a lot, and most of them won't. A couple legendaries will be worth a lot, like a few ether, because it'll just be like, certain cards every deck wants, right? Like every deck needs, this card, this 3-drop that's critical to its curve, and it's like, okay, you got to
yeah.
get it, and then everyone knows that's the card everyone needs, so that's going to be the most valuable one for a while. And I think we're going to see like a really funny market evolve. I'm definitely going to play around with it because it's like I used to do that in World of Warcraft a lot. So
Yeah. Well, it'd be fun to talk more about the game and show it off in a future broadcast sometime.
yeah, I'll have a little more set up, and I'm just playing a crappy deck that I threw together myself right now. Anyway, I don't want to embarrass myself. I can put no time into it. I just want to spam games.
Yeah. Well, that's most of the news for today, I think.
Yeah, that's a good
Things
one, and
still going on.
yeah, you make sure to level up in Gods Unchained because I'm gonna keep doing that, and then we got to play together. If you're out there still watching, please make sure to subscribe and like. It helps us out super lots. And make sure to check out our live meetups. If you're ever in Vancouver, reach out. And if you ever want to talk blockchain gaming stuff, reach out from wherever you are. So yeah, see you later, guys. Have a good one.
See you, everyone.